So, we're talking about something that is so common, especially as it pertains to health and fitness, but really just for women in general. And that is hormonal birth control. Almost all of us are just like thrown on it as a teenager to help manage our acne, to help manage our period symptoms, to help manage all of these other things. And it does do a very good job of managing those things by masking what's really going on. But unfortunately, we don't ever really learn about how hormonal birth control works from the doctors. I certainly didn't. I don't know if any other, Drea, I don't know if you were ever on hormonal birth control, or I'm not sure what other, Lindsay, I think you're here. But they just don't tell you like what it's doing to your body.
Doctors just don't tell you stuff.
And it's kind of frustrating.
I was having this conversation with Ryland yesterday. I know this is about hormonal birth control, but now there's hormonal acne treatments.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And they don't talk about those either. They just give it to you and they're like, cool, it'll fix whatever symptom you're experiencing.
So, and yeah, that's the thing is they highlight the good things for sure. Like if you take birth control long enough, it's like 10 years or every year that you take it, you have like a 5% less chance of getting breast cancer or ovarian cancer or something like that, which certainly is beneficial. But like you also don't hear the bad stuff. So
there's a lot of bad.
You don't get all the information. No, I guess I'll say.
No, it's rose. It's a rose tinted glass.
Lenses. Yeah.
Rose tinted lenses.
Lenses.
What is it? Flower vase now.
Okay. All right. Where were we? So don't get me wrong. I was on hormonal birth control 15 years and I actually got my period when I think I was 8. It might've been 9. And I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was dying. My first period lasted a month long. And when I turned 13, I was put on hormonal birth control to help me with my symptoms, cramping. I would get nauseous from the pain. So I was on hormonal birth control for 15 years and it took me learning about how it really works and having a desire to go far in bodybuilding to come off of it. So I came off of it in 2021. And I was fortunate in that I didn't really have too terribly many bad side effects. I got my cycle back the same month. My body responded fairly well. I did, however, have pretty bad hormonal acne once I came off of birth control that I had never had in my life. So I ended up having to take Accutane. So both my body trying to reestablish to homeostasis when it comes to not having that those excess hormones, as well as being on Accutane, my mental health definitely struggled.
Dude, Accutane was rough back in the day too.
It still is.
Were any of you guys on Accutane? Anybody take that? You guys are a little bit younger, I think, but they used to mega dose that shit.
Yeah.
Because you have to reach a total accumulative dose. And they used to mega dose us in like 3 months, get you there. And I mean, dude, depression went up, suicidal thoughts and ideation went up. It was rough. So coming off birth control, getting your cycle back, the slew of hormonal regulations that were occurring, plus throwing Accutane in there. Yeah, that must have been pretty rough.
So all of this is to say that if after listening to this or watching this video, whatever you're doing, you do decide that coming off of hormonal birth control is the right option for you and aligns with what you want to do, I would strongly advise having somebody overlook it. Yeah. Typically, that's going to be some sort of health and fitness coach that is well-versed in the topic of hormones, specifically as they pertain to hormonal contraceptives. But having somebody to consult with while you're going through this, should you run into anything, is definitely a good idea. Okay, so that was a very long intro, but we will go ahead and get into the talk today. So hormonal birth control methods work by introducing synthetic hormones into our body, which mimic or alter the natural hormone process involved in the menstrual cycle, as well as fertility. So these methods primarily aim at preventing pregnancy through different mechanisms. The 3 most common types of birth control and how they work. So the first one's a combination pill. That's what I was put on. That's what most young women are put on. And it contains synthetic versions of estrogen and progestin. These hormones work together to inhibit ovulation, which is the release of the egg from the ovaries. By suppressing ovulation, these pills prevent fertilization by sperm. So in other words, the swimmers,
You don't ovulate, they got nowhere to go.
they got nowhere to go. They're swimming, but they're not going anywhere.
Yep.
They also thicken the cervical mucus, making it difficult for sperm to enter the uterus and reach the egg. The combination pill also alters your uterine lining, which not great, but we'll get into that later. Okay. There are also progestin only pills, also known as mini pills, which only contain a synthetic form of progestin. These pills primarily work by thickening the cervical mucus, making it harder for sperm to pass through the cervix and reach the egg. So we're only getting one line of defense there. And then the last is going to be hormonal IUDs. They are a T-shaped device that is inserted into the uterus, and they release a continuous dose of progestin into the uterus. The progestin thickens the cervical mucus. You got the same deal going on. So making it harder for the sperm to reach the egg.
Quick note, that is progestin, not progesterone.
Correct.
Okay, those are two different things. And I think they're often commonly confused. Progestin and progesterone are not the same. So progesterone is what will trigger your cycle. Progestin is what thickens that mucus and makes it harder for the sperm to reach.
And progesterone is necessary for you to be able to conceive and have a baby. Mm-hmm. So that's what you want to look at if you are trying to become more fertile, making sure that that's in a good range. Okay, so birth control, obviously super popular. It heals and fixes all of our problems as women.
Heals and fixes all of your symptoms.
It does. Women. It does. Which, again, I'm not going to knock it because it seriously helps, like, in fixing those things. But there are other ways to address what is causing those problems. And so it is a Band-Aid, but not necessarily a good one.
There's always a reaction.
Correct.
Anything you do, anything you put in your body, there's going to be a reaction.
Yeah. All right. So it's been a popular choice for a lot of people. And while it does undoubtedly offer some benefits, it's important to acknowledge that hormonal birth controls can have potential drawbacks, particularly those involved in bodybuilding or those that are concerned about their hormone levels and overall health. Emphasis. So next, we're going to talk about the potential harmful sides of birth control, specifically as it pertains to those who have bodybuilding endeavors, who want to make sure that their hormone regulation is in a good place, or if you're just trying to have a general well-being. So the first thing that we're going to see is impaired muscle growth and performance. So one of the primary concerns for individuals who are wanting to bodybuild or compete is the impact of hormonal birth control on muscle growth and performance. Hormonal birth control, such as oral contraceptives or IUDs, often contain synthetic hormones like progestin and estrogen, which can affect anabolic process in the body. So we see this in, obviously we can see it in blood work, but the research suggests that it can control and interfere with protein synthesis, insulin sensitivity, muscle repair, all of which are crucial for optimal muscle growth and your recovery from training. There's still ongoing studies about all of this, but it has been indicated that hormonal contraceptives can lead to decreased muscle strength, endurance, and potentially hampering progress in all health and fitness endeavors. Are you going to add something there?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so this the disruption on your hormones can also lead to issues in your endocrine system, potentially leading to imbalances, not potentially, definitely leading to imbalances in hormone levels. Such imbalances may manifest as reduced testosterone, which is something none of us want, especially from your natural levels. It can also lead to increased cortisol levels or alterations in other hormones for muscle growth and overall health. However, as we know, testosterone in particular plays a vital role in muscle building, strength gains, and overall energy levels. So decreased testosterone levels can hamper muscle development, hinder recovery, and negatively impact your mood and motivation. Yo, for my ladies that have experienced low T and my gents, honestly, it just feels terrible. You're exhausted, you're tired. Training, you don't like have that fire. It's just not a good feeling.
Gear.
Yeah.
No sixth gear, no motivation, kind of like lazy getting up in the morning.
Yep.
No sex drive.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it. Like,
I felt like I was just being like scorned. Like, don't even think about it.
No, like you will not even. You'll be like, wow, it's been a while since I've thought about that.
It's been a while since I thought about sex.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it sucks. Low T sucks. Low estrogen really sucks.
Yeah, it does. But that's for another day.
That's for another day. But anyway, yeah. These just, I mean, you're taking hormones. You have to expect it.
So the last one that I'm going to touch on, well, actually not the last one, but one that we are going to touch on later that I'm hinting at now, is nutrient absorption and metabolism. So some hormonal birth control methods can affect the absorption and utilization of important nutrients. For example, you will have decreased levels of vitamin B6, 12, folate, magnesium, selenium. There was one other. I didn't write them all down. And all of those are essential for the production of muscle function and overall health and well-being. Additionally, nutritional deficiencies can impact muscle recovery, compromise your immune function, and undermine overall health, making it challenging to build muscle. And then finally, general health concerns. So hormonal birth control can have potential side effects that impact your health. These may include headaches, weight gain, which we've all heard about, increased risk of blood clots, high blood pressure, decreased libido, or even cardiovascular issues. You may not experience all of them, but you're more than likely to experience at least one. But these are some of the side effects that we don't ever really hear about that are associated with hormonal birth control. So we've talked on the general ways that hormonal birth control can downregulate your body, but one thing that they really don't talk about and that we see a lot as coaches these days is the gut and digestion issues that are associated with being on hormonal birth control. A lot of people don't think that those two things are connected, but truly, like, for 99% of the inside of your body, it is all connected.
Everything's connected.
Your sleep is connected to your digestion, is connected to your hormones, is connected to your stress management, is connected to your brain and the chemicals that it releases. All of that shit is connected.
And not only is it connected, but they work synergistically. So if one impacts the other impacts that one back. If you have poor sleep and it's impacting your digestion, that's impacting your hormones. Your hormones are also impacting your sleep, which are impacting your digestion. And it becomes cyclical. So you have to pick the point of the root cause and you have to fix that. Because otherwise you're just doing what the doctor's doing. You're just band-aiding symptoms.
Right. And so to piggyback off of that, when we are addressing a gut case and we are looking at the gut and we're trying to understand what's going on, if the client is on hormonal birth control, we will address it differently than if they were not. If hormonal birth control is the root of the gut issues and gut dysbiosis, until that client is prepared to do three things. One, come off of birth control, hormonal birth control. Two, address how they manage their stress, the stress that they are able to control. And three, commit to the entire process. You're going to end up doing this thing over and over and over again, which is okay. But unfortunately, you can't just fix one part and expect the other parts not to come back to bite you in the ass.
If this was any other drug, I think it's a lot less stressful to consider not taking it.
Right.
If you had high blood pressure and you're taking a medication for your high blood pressure, it's like, all right, well, that's causing this issue. We can incorporate this other supplementation. We can add in some cardio. There's not as much of a stressful decision to be made, but because this is literally birth control, it's like to us, it feels like it's the one thing that's preventing you from being pregnant. And if you don't want to be pregnant, probably don't want to come off it.
You probably don't want to live in America, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, it's another topic for another day. But it's a serious decision to make, and that in itself is stressful. So we have to manage all these different variables. We have to manage the stress itself. But yeah, that can be a tough one for people.
By the way, we fully support women having rights. Big feminist energy here. So none of this is to say come off birth control, get pregnant, and then be left by yourself. Just so that's clear. We're just talking about the side effects of birth control and why we need a better solution. Okay, here we go. All right, so we know it affects the gut, but let's look at it more specifically what it does. So hormonal birth control is going to cause gut microbiome alterations. So what is your gut biome? It is the diverse community of microorganisms that reside in your digestive tract, which play a crucial role in your digestive health, which impacts your overall health. So preliminary studies show that oral contraceptives alter the composition and diversity of the gut biome. Changes in that gut microbiome can potentially disrupt the delicate balance of beneficial bacteria. We need good bacteria, which may have implications for digestion, nutrition absorption, and immune function. So what is that saying? When we have in our gut, we have good and bad bacteria, right? And typically when we see some sort of dysbiosis, I don't want to say typically, but a lot of the times, if it's a parasite or you have IBS or anything like that, the bad bacteria has
overpowered,
overpopulated, and the good bacteria has kind of diminished. So being on hormonal birth control, impacting your gut and diminishing that good bacteria on its own is putting you at a disadvantage.
And you'll feel it.
Yeah, you will feel it.
Digestion it's not great.
I am lucky.
You're very lucky you could eat a tin can.
Yeah, and I've always been that way. It's a rare case, but
I have not.
So we are also looking at intestinal permeability.
Leaky gut.
Hell yeah, brother. Commonly referred to as leaky gut. It refers to a compromised intestinal barrier that allows the passage of substances such as toxins and bacteria into the bloodstream. Increased intestinal permeability can trigger chronic inflammation and immune system dysregulation, which may have implications. It does have implications on your gut health.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So
it was literally leaking through your gut wall. That's how I think of it. I think of it as like, this is your gut lining. And then when you have permeability, there's just like little cracks. And stuff gets through.
That's kind of crazy.
That's kind of when like, if you do food sensitivity testing and you do have some intestinal permeability, the foods you eat most show up.
I don't know why I'm now just imagining different substances like falling through your fingers into your body. Yeah. Like I saw like queso kind of dripping through there for a second.
Queso for sure gets through. Yeah, queso for sure gets through. It's not like food literally gets through, but you guys know what I mean. There's a permeation.
It does actually kind of get through.
It does. It's just not like the way that you would think of it. It's not some magic school bus type shit.
That would be so much cooler.
Miss Frizzle isn't down there with her school bus, like following queso through your gut wall.
She might be.
She might be, dude. Honestly, I think that would be a great show.
And Miss Frizzle lives in all of us.
Yeah.
All right. So next thing we're going to talk about nutrient absorption. So they have the potential to affect your nutrient absorption. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but you are not going to absorb your vitamin B12, folate, B6, and you may less efficiently absorb all nutrients, micronutrients. Studies are not fully conclusive on, it's based on the individual. So without a doubt, you will not absorb B12, magnesium, selenium, B6, and folate. But there are individuals that use oral contraceptives that have trouble absorbing various different micronutrients. And then the last thing that we look at is gastrointestinal symptoms, such as bloating, nausea, or changes in bowel movements. This one is a biggie, ladies. If you ain't pooping, there's something wrong. You should have a poop every day. Unless you're really, really deep in prep, then it's a different story. But even then, you should have a poop every day.
We trying to poop out here.
We stay pooping.
We stay pooping out here. if you're not pooping, I mean, I don't think it's uncommon for a lot of, and it's mostly women, you're right, to come to us and think that their digestion's normal, bowel movements are normal.
Yeah.
And then we find out that normal means they're not pooping for like 2 or 3 days at a time. And while you're not pooping for those 2 or 3 days at a time, you're metabolizing more estrogen. You're putting more work on your liver. And if your liver can't metabolize it back out, then it metabolizes back in. And that's how you get your estrogen dominance. Well, it's one of the ways, but
the vast majority of women that come to me that are having some sort of issues with their bowel movements, they are not pooping. But hang on, time out. So sorry, Shawnee, if you're watching this. Shawnee pooped when she came to me 4 times a day. That's a lot of pooping.
I think
that sounds like,
I think it's on the high end, but it's not like,
oh dude, that sounds like amazing. And they were like good. They were good poops.
Yeah, it's on the high end, but it's not. I wouldn't be.
It's not excessive.
No, it's not excessive. I wouldn't be. I would be worried.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about it. But like the feeling after you poop and you get to experience that 4 times a day. Oh my God, that's amazing. I think it's kind of funny that none of you have your cameras on right now. Also, by the way, I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, yeah, we started talking about poop. Everyone's like,
gross.
I don't want to make eye contact while you're talking about poop.
Drea's not making eye contact. Yeah, I just shamed all you to turn your cameras back on. Yeah.
Oh man, y'all are funny.
To be fair, I turned off my camera so I could go poop. So
hell yeah.
Not a poop though.
No,
oh, you said so you couldn't.
Oh, you did. Nice. Yeah. Do you feel great?
I feel amazing.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear it.
That fresh skinny.
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm walking home though, so I don't want to get hit by a car.
Fair. Please don't get hit by a car.
Dan said every time I take pre-workout or coffee.
Yep. Caffeine will make you poop.
Yeah.
Okay, so can cause bloating, nausea, or changes in bowel habits. It can also, where the heck was I? Okay, so with that, obviously this is another means by which, digestion and our gut health is affected. So overall conclusion, hormonal birth control is fucking with your systems. There are plus sides to it, but there are other alternatives to managing those symptoms as well. However, if you're doing it as a means of preventing human recreation, I totally get it.
Does a good job of that.
Yeah.
It's pretty good at that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it keeps you from having a baby.
Yeah.
But also, there are other means as well that of contraceptives. I actually, after I came off, I got a copper IUD, which is non-hormonal. It just acts as a spermicide. So anytime there is sperm, it kills it. Yep, basically that's my copper IUD, and they're just holding sperms hostage. Just oh my God. It's just like on the back of the Halo truck, like
yeah.
Actually, I imagine my copper IUD more as like a tank or like a banshee, maybe just like swooping in. Yeah. So copper IUDs, there are spermicides, but they can cause yeast infection. So be very careful with that. When I say spermicides, they're like an actual gel
like
that you put into your vaginal canal and that kills off the sperm. Acts in the same way as a copper
They
IUD.
can also cause infections on our end too.
Yes, they
Yes.
can also cause
So-
infections for men.
Yeah, found that out the fun way.
Oh my god. I didn't, but he did. Let's see what else. Condoms, obviously.
Mhm. Track your
and
cycle.
Tracking your cycle,
You know.
though. You have to have a very regular cycle if you're going to go that route.
Yeah.
Which is the goal in coming off of hormonal birth control. If you're working with a coach.
Even
So,
if you're on birth control, you should have a regular cycle.
yes. Yeah, you should have a regular cycle even if you're on birth control.
Yeah. The amount of women that come to us and they're like, oh, I don't have a cycle, I'm on birth control. And I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to work.
Yeah, there are but that is what the doctor tells you sometimes.
That it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
sucks. Cool. Well, this was I feel like a really important one. I have so many athletes come to me that want to compete, that are women, that are on hormonal birth control. And I'm like, yeah, we can do it, but you're going to have to work a lot harder to get that level of conditioning. And even with putting that more work forward, you are still going to be behind, unfortunately. It's the way that your body responds to having those increases in progestin and estrogen and decrease in testosterone. And unfortunately, blah, 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 makes your body go blah, blah, blah.
It's kind of the opposite of what happens to us males or anyone really, when they
Go on TRT.
start taking TRT or testosterone.
Yeah, it's like the
More
exact
test,
opposite.
less estrogen. I guess
More estrogen.
more estrogen, but like more test as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So same but different, opposite.
Yeah. So that's kind of like a surface level overview. I guess that's not surface level. That was like a moderate depth overview of hormonal birth control. I hope this was helpful and informational to y'all. Do you guys have any questions? Not everybody at once.
The digestion piece definitely applies to the guys in here as well. I mean,
yeah, if you're on hormonal birth control and you're a guy,
you're on hormonal birth control, but like if you're experiencing those digestive symptoms, things operate the same way. If you're not pooping, you're metabolizing estrogen. What?
I don't know. That just sounds disappointing.
Not pooping.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. We were also talking about this with Johnny, our mentor, that and coach.
Yeah.
That
fun, exciting news. Josh is starting with Johnny.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I'm super excited. But we were talking about this and he brought it up and we were kind of like, yeah, I think I know what you mean. But there's a look that women on hormonal birth control have. It's different.
Kind of like a general inflammation all over their body.
It's not just like around your cycle, you get inflamed and bloated and puffy, but it's not all around your body all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a certain look to women on hormonal birth control. So you can dig as deep as you want.
Now I want to go back and look at my check-in pictures.
From when you were on?
Yeah.
I remember
my first prep that I did. Yeah, I was on hormonal birth control.
I remember your look.